Hi.
Hello, and welcome to the first of a very mini series of casting episodes for many more games, um, courtesy of our friend Clara who came up with that name.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So we owe her a lot of copyright money.
We probably do, yes. When we get the music ready, I've got to get a permission first, but she made some wonderful music, which I'd love to play alongside this little cast. Anyway, this is a very short little video just to say hello and to kind of introduce you a little bit to who we are and what we sort of like to do hobby-wise. So it's going to be quite a lot of things. We like board games, we like miniature games, card games,
Video games.
video games.
Anything that
pretty
has
much
game
anything.
at the end.
Pretty much any games.
Is that.
Yeah. Anyway, so just a little introduction maybe to what sort of things I like to do. I'm Xander, and I've been obsessed with Warhammer and other miniatures games since I was about 10 years old. I can still remember my friend's father came home with like the tombs, the two books, and we all looked at them with wonder. You know, this was when it's like second. I can't remember which edition it was, but it was Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and it was Bretonnians and Lizardmen, and in those little plastic boxes where you got like 6 miniatures, all exactly the same with the same static pose. Maybe you could move one arm. That was about it. Absolutely fell in love with it, and of course the dad would never let us touch his miniatures. We were really upset about that, and he started painting them all individually with their own little heraldry and everything, and finally pestered my parents to take me to a shop on the other side of the island, because I lived in Singapore at the time and there were very few miniatures gaming shops. Took me to the shop on the other side of the island so I could buy my first box of Warhammer and thus start disappointing my father for the first time. all outdoor sports stopped at that point, I have to admit. I was very supportive. Anyway, long time, pretty much exclusively into Games Workshop games for a while, and then I got sort of bamboozled into starting to play lots of different board games, and as a plugging Shut Up and Sit Down, the website, they really got me into board games, and also
Likewise.
got her into board games as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So really got into those, and started playing them, lots of card games and board games while I was out in Singapore for the second time, when I went out there to work again, and then kind of dropped off the wargaming bandwagon for a little bit. Was traveling around a lot, and there were lots of different editions of sort of Warhammer and things coming out, and I started playing other games, started broadening my horizons a little bit of War Machine, a little bit of Malifaux, a little bit of Frostgrave, which is now one of my loves, and then of course it happened. The big thing happened, where love it or hate it, it was a big event. The end times happened. Warhammer Fantasy Battles died. A death that I think it can be proud of. It was a massive send off, and I have to admit, I was devastated for a little while, but it must have been very interesting because that was kind of the year that I met Tonya, and she kind of got to see the transition of me going, right, terrible things. What? How could they do this? How could they do this? All the history of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Those interesting models are quite nice, but no, the terrible. They touched the history of it. What do you mean all the rules are now free? I can play without buying the books. Oh no, I will not be seduced by this new form of Warhammer. And then so what does the box? It's on sale. No, I'll just pick it up. Maybe just pick it up while I can. Yeah. maybe just pick it up, buy it, and it's Christmas. Maybe I'll buy a friend a box as well. And then we ended up playing, and it became a big thing. And now, of course, 8th edition Warhammer 40k. And this is where we'll get to that in a moment. But over to you.
Thank you, my love. Hi, I'm Tonya, or Kitten. I have my own channel, Twisted Shadows, which really doesn't know what it wants to be at the moment. So I'm figuring that out at the moment. So going on to the game style of life, I was generally a traditionalist, as I call it, whereby at home it was Monopoly, Scrabble. Actually, recently I've learned. Except recently I've learned how to play backgammon, and I actually really enjoy that. And actually, you've played it, and you've been okay with it.
She kicks my ass every single time. Every time I have lost.
Yeah. So
cannot win.
Just before I met Xander, I actually got into painting miniatures thanks to one of my friends. And then from when I met Xander, I was painting Dark Eldar. And then when AOS came out, Dark Eldar didn't really get finished. And then I was putting my Chaos Slaves of Darkness together and so forth. And then again, Shut Up and Sit Down. Really got me into buying a lot of games. Some presents, like I bought you Captain Sonar for your birthday.
You can't see it right now, but we're using the boxes of like 3 or 4 different games to hold the camera up.
Yeah.
So this is how much a part of our life they are.
Yeah. A friend recently got me into Carcassonne, so I bought Carcassonne. I'm into card games. I like Netrunner. I like Ascension. I like Hero Rounds, and I also have literally just sort of testing the waters with Magic the Gathering.
Don't get me started.
He's not happy. He's like, we've already got one expensive hobby. Why are you getting another one?
She's like, you got 6 already. Don't you got nothing to comment about?
Yeah. But I also watch Twitch and YouTube, and I normally watch Christopher Odd because he plays horror games. And that's great for me because I'm too scared to play them. So by watching him react and stuff, it's actually really, really good. And he does other stuff as well. And then
I had to plug Splattercat Gaming as well. Yeah. I love him because he loves indie games. He plays lots of indie games, and my computer cannot handle huge amounts of games.
No, we
so
need to get a tower.
Indie games are kind of where it's at the moment, and it's great. It's great fun. He's got a really good style. We'll put the links to those individuals in the YouTube bar below.
Mm-hmm. And you've recently got into Necromunda.
Yes, Necromunda. Well, I don't know what it is. I love the number of skirmish games coming out right now. It really means that you can be part of a game without having to make a huge financial commitment.
But in a sense, you can just do it yourself. Even if it's not existed, you could just do that yourself anyway.
Well, you can, but I mean the thing is...
But it's more trouble than it's worth because of obviously you've got to be the one to put it together.
Well, I say no huge financial commitment. I did buy the box set, which put me back a little bit of money. And of course, I had to buy the Orlocks gang when they came out as well because Hail of Bullets, yeah! Brotherhood of Iron! Yeah. I love it. But yeah, Necromunda. Bring that to a point actually. Necromunda and games like Necromunda. The games that came out in the vacuum that was left behind by the official Necromunda being stopped. And then you have, people continued playing it, and it became such a massive community-driven thing. I really wish that I'd been in on it, really, but I was a bit too young when Necromunda was being done. And Necromunda was, a lot of people who are sort of YouTube gamers and people who talk about these sort of things will talk about Necromunda in reverent tones. And for me, the one which it was Necromunda's fantasy successor, which was Mordheim. And Mordheim came out, and that's what I think
showed that when we were in that place in Canterbury.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what the guy was saying about it.
Yeah, Mordheim just And I mean, of course, now it's a video game, and you can play it on
Which I like the video
on a
game
console
over
or a
than
computer,
the game itself,
which
physically.
is great. But it's great. But I like the sort of I like the way that you take your miniature and then it evolves over time, which it does. I'm sorry, by the way, just had dinner, so I'm giving a little bit.
Yeah, but you can also do that in skirmish games where you do campaigns.
Yes,
So
I know.
your
Well, that's what you
model
did with Mordheim. You
develops.
played campaigns with
Yeah.
your Mordheim models.
You've got Shadow Armageddon. You've got the 40k. No, you've
Shadow
so
War
many.
Armageddon.
That's right.
Shadow War Armageddon, which is like the successor, which was I think the prototype for Necromunda, and it works really really well, and I love it because I've got like the beginnings of 5 armies, so I can play like 5 different teams. Although I do have my Shadow Armageddon team ready to go. My Mechanicum, who do really well. They keep shooting Necrons off from miles away, which I love.
Mechanicum or Mechanicus?
Adeptus Mechanicus. Adeptus Mechanicus is the faction, but you can call them Mechanicum, like Mechanicum team.
I just wondered.
If I'm wrong, please put that in the comments because I probably am. But yeah, so I have Shadow War. I have Necromunda. I'm waiting for Kill Team. When Kill Team comes out, that's another one. It's going to be on my list. But
Frostgrave.
you don't have to buy models for Kill Team.
No,
though.
I know. I know. And you got
Frostgrave, Frostgrave, the follow-up, which is Ghost Archipelago.
Which is awesome!
It's only awesome because you beat me every single time we played so far.
Swirling pools of water!
I didn't realise, the thing about Frostgrave is a game where you, I'm going to do a separate video on this at some point. But Frostgrave is a game where you are playing as basically 2 wizard factions hunting through a ruined city to try and find treasure. And it's a very simplified version of Mordheim. You've got wizard and apprentice, and they gain experience through these treasure hunting missions and campaigns. The rest of them don't. They're kind of like just people you've bought the services of in a bar. And so you can just replace them after every battle, or you can keep them, and it doesn't make a difference really. But they don't go up levels. Basically, they're as good as they're going to get. Later versions brought in captains who are like soldiers who can also go up levels, but that's really it. Ghost Archipelago is the most recent version by Osprey Games. Osprey Games who make it, and it's basically what if you had a pirate who was also an X-Man, who has X-Men powers. He can walk through walls. He can jump over buildings. He can stay underwater indefinitely. He can, I don't know, just shoot lasers from his eyes. All sorts of cool stuff like that. And yeah, the short story behind this is that I didn't realize in Ghost Archipelago just how important terrain is. It is the most important thing in the game.
And having someone that can swim.
And being able to manipulate that terrain is the most important thing. And I got suckered in by taking like a lightning wizard to help me, and she took a water wizard.
Yes, I did.
I took a water wizard, which meant that she got basically opening pools and ponds up. We'll go through this later in a different video, but it is a really good game. I recommend you go and check it out.
And what's the other one where we were playing and it was like 40k but with the hexagons?
Oh, Shadespire.
That's Shadespire.
Shadespire. Well, Shadespire got that ready. My first team ready for that. I'll do a little video on that as well.
And then what was the AOS version?
That is Shadespire.
No. There was a 40k version.
Are you thinking of Shadow War?
No, it was you had a board with little hexagon shapes. My Reavers, the guys that I painted white with the blue symbols.
Yeah, that's Shadespire. That's
that
AOS.
Is Shadespire.
Yeah, that's AOS.
But didn't we play
Age of
something that
Sigmar.
was the same? Didn't we play something that was the same but that was 40k version?
No.
With a board.
No, not yet.
No? Nurgle or something?
Oh, no, but that's not the same. You're thinking of Silver Tower, but that's still AOS.
Not Silver Tower, but yeah. Anyway. So that's me. With my sort of gaming style, I'm evil. I like to play the bad guy. I don't like to share. Basically, I'm the worst enemy to have. I really want to buy Descent at some point because then I can be an overlord. And I really think there's not enough games where you can be the evil dark one while your group of happy little friends who want to save the world get together. Like, there should be more Descent games, you know. I mean, if there was a Lord of the Rings game, I'm sure there probably is, but it'd be great if there was a new one where you could play as Sauron, basically Descent but Lord of the Rings. So for me, that would be really, really cool.
It makes playing games against this
As an
woman
option.
very difficult because you like to go for you're very thematic in your play. So what's the most evil thing I could do at this particular
Yes.
moment? Oh, I could betray you. I've made a little alliance with, and just attack you in the back for no reason. Even if it means I'm going to lose the game, you know, it doesn't matter as long as it's
It doesn't.
thematically evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think our game styles are different. You seem to like you like Zombicide. You like Zombicide, whereas for me, I don't really like that style of gameplay.
I
And
like
not just
Zombicide.
and not just a cooperative style, just the game style itself.
I like Zombicide. I think I've kind of evolved a little bit away from Zombicide. I like Zombicide, but it's very static in that it is, you know, you have like two actions, and sometimes you can't
There's
even
a
do
door.
anything with that one act. You can't even do anything with that action.
There's monsters.
And most of the time is spent running away from zombies on the board rather than going out like a hero and killing them. It's still a really good game. It's still a good gateway game. I would use it as a gateway game to get people into miniatures gaming as well as board gaming. Plus, the miniatures are beautiful. The aesthetic is beautiful. It's a beautiful board, and it's very nicely done. The zombies, there's lots of different zombies. Again,
those would look
talking about a
better-
different game, we're
those
going to
would
have to
look better
go through
painted.
those.
Gateway games for card games, I would definitely suggest Hero Realms and Ascension, because they have a lot of very, very similar mechanics. And then from then, I would go probably from either Magic the Gathering or the Lord of the Rings
Oh, you forgot
living
Netrunner.
card game, as well as Netrunner.
Netrunner, I think it's one of those
and
ones.
Arkham
Arkham Horror, the trading card game.
Because that also has
Thank
a
you,
lot.
shut up and sit down for introducing that to me.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
Great
all
game.
these games that I've just listed, they all have very, very similar mechanics. So if you're looking towards going card game, or you want to try card game, those are something to try. Magic the Gathering, be careful because it's expensive, and it's basically like when you collected Pokemon, you'd get them in little packs, and you wouldn't know what you'd get, and it's that basically building your own deck. But with the Lord of the Rings, which I have, it's a living card game. So basically, I can buy packs, but I know what's inside. I know that I'm going to get a mission and some sort of character cards. So that's cheaper, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know what the prices are. Shall we have a look at the miniatures?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about our ongoing projects at the
Okay.
moment. I'm going to allow you to begin, if you wish, because you've got, I think, the larger projects to go over.
Yeah, you'll have to give them the names though, because I'm still very new to this, and so yeah. So let's get this bad boy out first. No. So can
You should
you
put his
give-
brother there as well.
He might fit.
Get both in the same frame.
I do have two.
There you go.
Yeah. Can you give the details, because I have no memory. I don't hold the memory of these.
These are called the Big Stalky Chicken Knights.
Yep.
So these are your two Knights Armiger. It's a new form of Imperial Knight, which came out in the Forge Bane box set, very recent box
That's
set.
right. Canthon Destroyer is what I've chosen. Oh no. That might be.
That
my
is
types.
your
My
little servitor
little
guys.
thing,
Yeah. So these are the Knight Armigers, and basically the Knights. These guys stalk alongside the Imperial Knights. Their entire job is to protect the Knights from, or to protect the Knights from things that might hurt them. They're a bit like outriders or squires for Knights. They're a bit smaller, a lot smaller actually, but they pack a punch. I know a lot of people are saying that these guys are maybe not as good for the points as other models might be, but I mean, look at them. They are beautiful models.
They look scary, and they're not even painted.
Can you sort of pan up a little bit? Put the camera. Can you maybe put the camera up so you can get a better sort of view top down quickly, just to see what it looks like?
Well, let's just say I've got this guy. Let me just do the aperture, sorry. So, there's the difference in size.
Bigger than a dreadnought, smaller than a knight.
Okay, so. And then I've got the tanks. I call them tanks. But,
See, I don't even know what those are called because I don't really play Mechanicum.
Pantheon destroyers,
Something like
if
that,
I
yeah.
recall correctly. I just really like the fact that I've got tanks with guns. I think that's really, really cool, to be honest.
Let's tell you a little story about these guys. Come home from work and find Kitten putting everything together, which is really cool. And then I take a look at them and I go, darling, she goes, yes. And I go, I think you made a little bit of a mistake. You may notice there's a little sort of cut-off bit towards the front. It looks a little, maybe the plastic looks a bit lighter. That's because the arm bracket was placed there originally, wasn't there? We did a little bit of a cut and paste to get the arms back on.
Yeah, it was such a shame.
It worked though. It worked. You can. They look good.
This guy.
The Dominus, Antarctic Priest Dominus.
And I can't remember what weapons I gave him.
Volkite Blaster, Volkite something, and Phosphorus. See, I don't know the names of these ones either, unfortunately. It's not really my faction, so it's Phosphorus something, or a Phosphos something.
I'm only going to show a couple of these, not all of them.
And of course, the Skitarii Rangers.
Yeah, nice sniper. Oh, I've got a bit of fluff somewhere on here. Do I get it?
Think so? Yep.
No. Maybe. So I've got these guys.
10 of them, yep.
Yeah, 10 of them. Only one with the long base. And then, so that's it for my Adaptus Mechanicus. And then, oh, my babies. Raw.
I actually like that with the light, it looks pretty creepy.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I've got my Cryptic Wraiths.
Something like that, yeah.
Canoptic Wraiths.
Something like that.
Yeah. So looking pretty nasty. And again, size-wise. Oh, I'm gonna use the old one that I did before.
I love that Necron. It looks like he's taking he's tapping a beat as he's walking.
Yeah.
It's like 1, 2, 3, and kill.
And just for shiggles, quickly. So there's the different sizes, basically.
It looks like a very weird family photograph.
It does. There's Lurch in the background. Ooh, be careful. So, yeah, they're my... I know they're Wraiths, but the rest of the name I'm not too sure about. And I got this guy.
Immortals.
My Immortals. This one has got the guns that do not have the rules for.
Yes, you do. You got the Tesla guns. It's the death marks you don't have the rules for.
Oh, that's right, the death marks. So yeah, so I've got these. I've got
You can show the
5
painted.
each
You
now.
can show the painted versions. You've got 3 painted versions there.
That's true. So
And there's your the guy there.
yeah,
And then
yeah. there's those guys. And then I believe lastly it is
These chaps here.
these chaps. Thank you. So let's just beef it up a little more. They're not even painted and yet they look brutal. Although I don't quite see why this one has got the sword the wrong way round. It's like he's giving it to an enemy. Here, take my sword. I've had enough of life. You know?
I still think we should get a
sense.
demon head or something and stick it in the head of the. Don't say Tau. It's not going to be a Tau head.
Tau head.
Definitely not.
Yes. Okay, so those are those guys. So yours?
Yeah, cool. Can I bring the camera over this side?
Let me
You
just see.
lift it over here. Just
Or
put it
do you
there.
want to bring it over?
Because I'd have to reach over you then to do that.
Oh, that's true. So that is.
So excuse the current bout of seasickness that's about to happen.
I don't know if I can pause.
Can't you just bring it over? Lift it.
That's what I'm trying to do, darling.
Okay.
You can turn. You can turn this to get the blurry. Better. Good.
Okay, so this is my tester model for. That's it. I joined the Space Communists. Don't know how to.
Just take. Oh, there you go.
There you go, the Space Communists. My Tau, as you can see, I've gone for a not overly complicated scheme. Nice bright red with bone highlights, so kind of almost like blood raven colours, as you can see, and a bit of teal on. I love teal. I love those sort of like turquoisey blue colours. That's why I play Age of Sigmar. My Stormcast Eternals are lovely celestial vindicators, as you can see. Okay, so not very much has been done with my Tau so far. I've been sort of playing on and off with the idea of Tau for a little while, but I haven't really got around to it. So let me just sort of adjust here a little bit. Sorry again,
There you go.
any motion sickness. So you can see I've got my little drones. I am a big fan of drones.
Oh, I hate
love
your
drones. They have in the new rules. They have some pretty weird little restrictions. They can only shoot the closest unit. But stick a drone controller on a battle suit, and suddenly they're all hitting on 4+, which is nasty because each drone, if you take a regular gun drone, has 4 shots. At the same amount it takes to hit with a fire warrior, so each one is kind of worth 2 fire warriors. Plus they can fly, so pretty nice. I'm a big fan of drones. I particularly like them for marker lights, and I really like them for the shield drones. I like to drop them in front of around my battle suits and let them take all the hits. Then I've got my unit of 10 fire warriors right here, with their, as you can see, it's not completely stuck together yet, but with their drone, with their I can't remember what the designation is. It's basically like a deployable missile launcher which joins them, which I'm quite a fan of actually. I never thought it would do very much damage, but it did quite a lot of damage to your guys. No, it's actually there's a drone thing to put on there which has a missile launcher, but it's not stuck on yet. It's not finished yet. No, a lot of my stuff is components. And then over here I've got my 3 battle suits, which I actually really love. I know
you've done really well with the bases so far.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to take a thing from Uncle Adam there and saying again we'll put his website underneath, which is from Tabletop Minions, but he says always get the bases done first, and I'm trying to make that my philosophy. I use some Stirland mud. Just a bit of Stirland mud and some cork to create sort of simulate some boulders and sort of torn up earth. I'm going to paint that sort of sandy desert colours, I think, to offset what I've done with the red. So it'll be sort of red in sandy desert, which is probably not good for camouflage, but these are Tau. They've got technology to make up for their paint jobs. And these guys are really nasty. I love Tau battle suits. They are, for their points cost, and for the fact that you can surround them with drones to protect them, they are not bad at all. They are just mobile weapons platforms which can shoot no matter what. Melter guns, got fusion blasters. They're called fusion blasters for Tau. Fusion blasters and plasma guns all the way. As you can see, the wonderful new advanced targeting systems which allow them to add an extra 1 AP to their weapons, and the drone controller on this guy. There's no official piece for the drone controller. I just have to sort of make that, or if there is, it's not labelled on the instructions. So I just kind of winged it a little bit, and I hope everybody won't be too WYSIWYG about it when I actually use them in games. All the weapon arms are back here. As you can see, they're not quite there together, but they're not on yet because I want to paint the models and sub-assemble them. And then I've got a whole load more to do though. I've got can we go back to us now? We've got a whole load of stuff to do. I've got another 2 units of fire warriors, going to do one more strike squad and one breacher squad. I've got another 3 battle suits to put together, a commander in a cold star battle suit. I've got a ghost keel to put together as well. What my army is going to, I'm probably hearing, if anybody is watching this and they are into Warhammer, they're probably saying that's not an optimized list at all. What are you doing? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that in your list? I'm a bit more of a hobby hero, so I tend to go for models that I think are cool.
Yeah, look nice, feel like they're part of your personality, or the personality of the army you want, that you enjoy painting. Exactly. You like the weapons and what the weapons can do.
Exactly. I mean, I'm going for at the moment a Borkan Sept at the moment, which is giving me some extra range on my guns. But to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, I've tried to choose my own color scheme, which I've tried to make different from Farsight Enclaves, or any of the other ones that I've seen so far, just so I can really enjoy that. I'm going to some bone on their helmets as well. Try and make it sort of like multicolored a little bit. I really like to. I want to try and make this sort of my own unit, and then I can use them as whatever I want to. As long as I declare to my opponent what they are before we begin, and I don't use anything that can't be used in an army that isn't supposed to have it. I think the whole fun of the hobby is to make your army look as much your own as you possibly can.
Your own freaky uniqueness.
The problem with Tau is they're not really good for. They're not really very good for anything that is. I'm probably completely wrong. There's probably some amazing armies out there which are completely individual. I find Tau a little bit more difficult to do individual because they're very clean cut. I mean, I'm not going to put spikes all over them or anything. It's just really weird. So that would be interesting for the greater good. For the greater good, I don't know. I don't know how that would go. I don't know how a Tau Goth would look. I'm sure it would be interesting. That Tau Goth may be finding it very hard to be in a society which prides itself on conformity. Probably end up in their death. Some sort of nice Tau concentration camp or something somewhere. Sorry, that's not very nice, but the Warhammer 40k is not a nice world. There are penal legions, and there are commissars shooting in the back of their head, and Dark Eldar who make you fight in pit fights for their amusement and strip your skin from their bones. Just horror.
My fun army.
Yes, your other army, which you still got to put together, by the way.
I have got Dark Eldar to put together. I have got to paint my Necrons. I've got to paint my Adaptors Mechanicus.
Are you doing your Mechanicus as Dark Mechanica? Or are you going to paint them Chaosy?
I paint everything Chaosy.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I've got Slaves of Darkness still to finish. I've got Tzeentch to finish with my Flamers. I've got
this is AOS now.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying the list in itself, and a few other things, bits and bobs. So I've done some terrain. I did my Realm Gate Chaosy, and I've done my Skull Centerpiece. and I've also got my Bones Dragons that I need to do at some point. So much stuff to paint.
We
to
each
put
have
together.
a chest of stuff.
Yes.
And it's I've still got to get my other Necromunda gangs together. I've got to finish. I've actually paint stuff from my Silver Tower. I've had it for like 4 years, and I still have painted like one model in the entire thing. I have and of course I started
Forgebane to
and
finish.
Forge. I've got my own Forgebane box. I have one of these as well.
Which is great because when we want to play against each other, Adapters Mechanicus versus Necrons, we can actually group them to have a bigger selection.
I love the Armiger Knights. I'm a big fan of them. I'm sure that they'll come out with another version soon, which has like Gatling guns or something, and lots of little different versions of it. It makes sense. Or you can even see the way they've designed it, so the arms are kind of interchangeable. Just click them in, click them out. Which I love, by the way. GW do more of that. I think the idea of interchangeable arms is really cool.
And the guns move too.
Yeah,
So
I'm assuming there's going to be like two chainsaw wielding guys or some sort of other versions of flame wielding guys or something. Very cool.
Woo! 35 minutes we've been chatting.
35 minutes. I think we better sort of wrap it up there
say
today.
Goodbye, otherwise we'll be here all night.
But yeah, so
That's
this is just
us.
this has been kind of a ramble because we're really what I'd like to do
talk anyway.
exactly. What I'd like to do is maybe do once a week. Once a week, I would like us to try and do a ramble like this. I'd like to invite you back on to do a bit of a ramble. I might do my own every now and then, but or maybe I might join you on your channel and do a ramble there. We can maybe make it the Gramble, yes. So it's a bit of a ramble then once a week, but then I also like to try and make sure I'm bringing out a focused video once a week.
Keep you motivated and inspired.
Yeah. So I think my first video will be about my primary game, which I play all the time, which is Age of Sigmar. I probably lost a lot of viewers already just saying that. I know there's a sort of a. I think there's a lot of stigma towards Age of Sigmar from the old crowd, but a lot of those old crowd have come towards it and started joining it again.
Like you.
What I don't want to do is I don't want to lose the fun of Age of Sigmar, like the narrative sense. But we'll go over that in my next video. So thank you very much for watching.
Thank you for sticking with us for about half an hour.
Yep. If maybe we can sort of like label something in there to say when we're saying things people don't want to watch the whole half an hour.
Yeah, like go to this clip 12 minutes in.
Exactly,
or
but please check out the links in the comment section below, and for those individuals that we mentioned and those different channels that we mentioned, which you should definitely check out. And and hopefully next time we do it, we can have the theme song sorted out for it.
Yes, thanks to our friends.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.